Welcome back to Irish Strength. So a huge weekend in Strongman. We've got UK's Strongest Man going on and we have 5 competitors over. So we've got 2 of the girls going for UK's Strongest Woman and we've got 3 of the guys going for UK's Strongest Man. So I wanted to give a little bit of a recap on how our Irish athletes have actually done on day 1. So we're going to start with the women, and we had the Husavelt carry for longest distance. Now the 2 girls that we have over there competing are Gemma Moore and we've got Sarah Reynolds. Now keep in mind with Sarah usually competes at the under 73 category, so body weight wise she is well down the list compared to some of the other athletes, and body weight definitely comes into play in some of these events and in most events, to be honest. So keep in mind those athletes that are running at a lower body weight, you know, it's an incredible achievement that they're even able to compete at this level with some athletes. Like for instance, Rebecca Roberts, who is competing for UK's Strongest Woman, is 140 kg. Then you've got Sarah Reynolds at 75, nearly half the body weight. So it's an incredible thing in there that I just said I'd throw out to you to start with. So at the first event, so Husavelt for distance, we had Rebecca Roberts absolutely blitzed this, 52.3 meters. Way out in front, first place. With the points for this, first place, because there's 8 competitors, first place gets 8 points, then 7, all the way down. And if you can't do an event, if it's for reps and you can't get 1 rep, for instance, you will get 0 points. So even if you can get 1 rep, you might come last, but you still get 1 point. If you can't do any reps, 0 points. So Gemma ended up in 4th place on this. She did 29.6 meters. Now Rebecca was miles off ahead, 52.3. Then you got into the 30s, 30 meters, and then you had Gemma just under that 30 meters. So really good result. And she ended up with 5 points from 4th place. Excuse me. Then you had down in 7th place was Sarah Reynolds, and I think the body weight really showed up here. It's a really tough event. So you had 12.25 meters, and that was 7th place, 2 points. Still not bad at all, and just barely missed out on that 6th place. Nadine Guy ended up on 14.3 meters, less than 2 meters ahead of Sarah Reynolds. So definitely a great start. I think a great start for both of them. I know 7th place sounds like it's not fantastic, but considering that body weight, I think it's a great result. And we're moving on to event number 2, which was the block press. Block press, for anybody who doesn't know, it is what it says on the tin. It's a big block. It's like what you would imagine building a house with, but just bigger. And you're bringing it up to the chest and pressing it over the head for as many reps as possible. The 2 winners, Lucy and Rebecca. So Lucy Underdown ended up with 5 reps on this. So ended up in a first place, 8 points. Rebecca, who came first in the first event, ended up in 2nd here, did 4 reps. All the other 6 competitors could not do a rep. If you get 1 competitor that isn't able to do a rep, or 2 competitors even, you can go, well, just had an off day, didn't go right for them. If you've got 6 competitors that can't do a rep on an event, 6 out of 8, really you're looking at the event going, it might be too heavy. It was 70 kg, which it's an awkward implement to press. That was possibly a little bit too heavy. And judging by those results, you look at it and go, yeah, that's a bit too heavy. So the girls only had 2 events on day 1. And you've got Rebecca and Lucy. So Rebecca Roberts and Lucy Underdown, they are tied for first. And they are on 15 points. Now, because of that event 2, because 0 reps for 6 competitors, really, really tough because none of them got any points. So it ends up that you've got those 2 ones at the top on 15 points, and then you're down to basically the scores from that first event: 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Gemma ends up in 4th position, which is what she got in that first event. She's on 5 points. And then you've got Sarah down in 7th position and 2 points. Then we were moving on to the men's. Now we have 3 Irish competitors over there. With the men's, there's 16 competitors in total, so they're broken into Group A and Group B. You had the first in Group A, we had Nikki Whelan and Sean Diver. Now, again, I'm going to mention this. Sean is an under 105 kg competitor, very lightweight in this pack. The next person up is 130 kg. So that's a huge, huge drawback for Sean. Now, Sean does tend to compete best at that weight. I think he's comfortable at that weight, but it is a drawback. And you've got people in that field that are 160 kg. So, you know, it is a big obstacle. Now, you had the man versus machine was the first event. And this was the truck pull push. This didn't go according to plan. So you had the way it was set up, you had 4 trucks, so 4 different lanes. And in lane 1 and 2, people had no problem at all. In lane 3 and 4, there was some technical difficulties. And what it seems to have been is that there's temporary surface and the trucks have been sitting there for a couple of days, or a day at least. And that's 8-ton weight pushing down on where those wheels are. And this sort of created a little bit of a depression where those wheels are sitting. This is what I'm hearing back. And that meant that the athletes in those lanes were really struggling to get those trucks out of those depressions. Now, it's hard enough to do a truck pull or a push when the trucks are just on a flat. But when they are in these little sort of potholes, if you want to call them that, it makes it very, very difficult. So it was very, very unfortunate for some of the athletes that were in those lanes. At the end of the day, most of these athletes will go, that's really annoying, and that's it. They're over it, because with strongman you do it. You roll with the punches. So with this, Nikki Whelan did incredibly well. Nikki ended up in 2nd position, grabbing 7 points. That is a dream start for Nikki. Sean got 5th place. Now, 5th place is an incredible result. Really great. I think he would have been very, very happy with that. However, unfortunately, he tied with 3 other athletes. So that means the points get diluted down. So he ends up with, instead of getting 4 points for 5th place, he gets 2.5 because he's sharing out the points. Both great results though. I think Nikki will have been over the moon with that, and Sean would be very, very happy with getting a 5th place for that. Then we were moving on to event 2, which was the circus axle press. We ended up, I don't know what particularly happened with this event for Nikki. I feel like there must have been, I didn't get to see any clips of this. I feel like there must have been maybe an injury or a niggle for him, because he is well able for this weight. It's 140 kg to do reps on this, but he ended up on 0 reps. So he got 0 points for that. I do think there must have been a reason behind that. Strength wise, I think he would have been able to do 2, 3, 4, maybe more reps on this. So I think there's a story behind that. I'm sure we'll find out. Sean again will be very, very happy. He ended up in 5th place, got 3 reps. The top person was Paul Smith with this with 6 reps. Then there was 5, couple of guys on 4 reps, and then Sean tied with somebody for 5th. He tied with Luke Sperducci in 5th place, and he got 3.5 points. Then we were on to the car roll. At 750 kg, and you're rolling the car. Everyone pretty much got the 2 reps on this, apart from Paul Smith, who ended up on 1 rep. So he ended up in 8th position. The 2 Irish lads, this, again, car roll is a very tough thing to train on, because most of us don't have a car to be able to roll around the garden or whatever else. And this showed Nicky ended up in 6th position. He did the 2 reps, fantastic. And he wasn't a huge amount of time behind the other athletes. He ended up in 32.78 seconds. And that's what it came down to, because everyone got the 2 reps, or pretty much everyone. It came down to how fast they did it in. So Nicky ended up in 6th position, got 3 points for it, and Sean ended up in 7th position. Time-wise, this was a tough one for Sean, ended up 51.78 seconds. Great result to get the 2 reps, but unfortunately they were a little bit slower, so ended up in 7th position. Now, that means with the eliminators, went to the eliminators, and that meant Sean, Nicky, and Scott were in the eliminators. So, unfortunately, Sean and Nicky ended up, they didn't make it, so they won't be in for day 2. But fantastic result for them, fantastic effort, sorry, not fantastic result, but fantastic effort. I think Nicky will be disappointed, because he started so well, getting 2nd place in that first event. The second event, whatever's happened, I'd say it's really thrown him. It just hasn't worked well. He ended up getting a calf tear, I believe, on the car roll as well, which is why he will have struggled on the time-wise. Still got the 2 reps, but it just went against him. Wasn't meant to be. Coming into this, I think he would have been looking a lot further up the field. Just like we say, it wasn't to be. Sean was consistent through it, but going up against guys that are 30, 40, 50 kg heavier was always going to be a tough ask. I think he will be satisfied, I would say, with the 5th places in those first 2 events. 7th, unfortunate, but wasn't enough to keep him in the running. Overall, well done to the 2 lads. You can't say, even getting up to points wise, getting up to 8 points is what Sean ended up, and 10 points Nicky. Like, in 5th place, you're 12 points. They weren't very far off the actual pace. So moving to Group B. In this group, we've just got Killian Groom, who's representing Ireland in this. And we went to man versus machine first. So this, again, it's same event. It was the truck pull push. Killian was in one of those unfortunate lanes that made it a little bit more difficult, and that shows in the results. He ended up in 6th place for this. Ended up with 3 points for that. You could see with this, the guys in lanes 3 and 4 really, really struggled. And yeah, from what I know, it is because of those depressions. Killian will be disappointed. I think he would have done well with this if it wasn't for that little bit of a problem. But ended up, like I say, 6th place, 3 points, not terrible. Then you've got the 150 kg, I think I said 140, it was 150 kg circus axle press. And Killian ended up on 4 reps, which was good enough for 5th spot. Again, 3 points for this. I think he'll be very happy with that. I think he got joint 5th with those 3 of them that ended up in joint 5th, so shared out 3 points. I think Killian will be very, very happy. 4 reps is a great result for this. You had Josh Norton ended up on 6 reps, then you had 3 athletes on the 5 reps, and then 3 athletes on the 4 reps, and then David Rampley ended up on 3 reps. So definitely a decent result for Killian on that second event. Then we moved on to the car roll. 750 kg, like I mentioned. This is an incredibly strong event for Killian, and it showed. Came in first place, was first place out of any of the athletes. So the two groups that did the car roll, Killian was first place. So of all the male athletes, ended up on 19.18 seconds. Fantastic result. Very, very quick. So ended getting up 8 points for this. Excuse me. So that ended up keeping Killian in 5th place, which was above the eliminators, where he wouldn't have been fantastically happy with that. I think that event one will have dropped him down where he would have expected to be a lot higher, but it kept him in for day 2, and that's what he really will have wanted. After day 1, we've got Killian going through to day 2. Fantastic result. He's still looking strong and some good events coming. We've got, unfortunately, Nikki and Sean didn't make it through to day 2, but incredible effort. And I think it was just, especially with Nikki, I think it was just something that didn't go right on the day. And then Gemma Moore and Sarah Reynolds are definitely doing the business. Gemma's looking good position, possibly for that 3rd place. She will definitely be looking at that. So we're on to day 2, and we will have a look at that tomorrow. The recap for that won't be as late as it has been today. I'm really, really sorry. It's just when I've got to do the video. But tomorrow's one hopefully will be around the 9 o'clock. I expect it'll all be done and dusted around then. So make sure you come back to me then, and we'll look at how the Irish contingent have got on tomorrow.